Good afternoon, graduates, family, friends, and distinguished guests. Welcome to Convocation at the University of Waterloo. My name is Feridun Hamdalapur, and I have the honor of serving as President and Vice Chancellor of this fantastic university. And it's my privilege to welcome you all to campus for this momentous occasion to celebrate the accomplishment of our soon-to-be graduates. Not quite yet. A few more steps. However, before we start this exciting day of celebration and tradition, it is important to reflect, acknowledge, and pay respect to the elders, past and present, of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. We are gathered today on their traditional territory, as the University of Waterloo sits on the Haldimand Tract, the land promised to the Six Nations people along the Grand River. If you please rise while I invite Birgit Moshinsky to sing our national anthem. Birgit.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Car ton bras s'est porté les pays, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Birgit. Please be seated. And it's my honor to invite our Chancellor, Mr. Dominic Barton, to start the convocation.
Well, welcome and good afternoon. President, Provost, faculty, and all the relatives, friends of the graduates, welcome. I want to start by saying congratulations, and congratulations first to our soon-to-be graduands. So if we could all join me on that, we're going to do this many times during the ceremony, but let's start. I think it is a remarkable achievement to graduate from this university, which I think is literally one of the most innovative and high-impact universities in the world. I'm going to talk a little bit more about why I think we need your leadership as we move ahead. But before doing that, I also think we should extend our congratulations to all of our friends and family who've been with you all through the journey here. So if we could also express our thanks to them too. I just want to cover a couple of things. One is just talk a little bit about the context in which you are going to be leading in the world. Some of you will decide that you want to stay on and do further academic work, which is wonderful. Others are moving out into the job market to play a role in the private sector and public sector, which is also wonderful. But just a couple of comments I wanted to make on that as you think about the leadership and as we think about your leadership. You are going to be leading in, I think, some of the most interesting times in history, and I don't say that lightly, at least in a 500-year time frame. I'm not enough of a historian to go further than that. And the reason I think that is because we have so many changes that are occurring at once in the world. We are in the early stages of an amazing technology revolution, which is changing everything that we do. There is no organization that is immune to the technology change that we're in the midst of, and I think Waterloo is very much at the heart of a lot of those changes and innovations. We are also in the midst of one of the biggest economic power shifts from the west to the east, and I think it's wonderful to see such a diverse group in our graduating class. There are many different countries that are represented, but the economic power center in the time in which you're leading is definitely going to be in the east and even towards Africa. And that's going to represent a very different world than it has been over the last 150 years in what we've normally been operating in. We are also going to become the oldest Earth that we've ever been in terms of age of humans. We're going to have more people over the age of 65 than under the age of 14 than we've ever had. And as I said, as I get older, I think that's not a bad thing. It's not as though old people don't do anything. They're productive. They do things. But it means we're going to have to think about how our society works in fundamentally different ways, because if we will not have productivity growth like we've had for the last 50 years, if more of us, including the older of us, don't participate in the economy in different ways. We will no longer be able to do health care in the way we are doing it today with an aged population, because no government in the world can afford to do it that way. There will have to be innovation. And the fourth force, I've talked about this technology, the economic power shift, aging, is a yearning for a new societal deal. There are many people in the world, many people in North America and Europe that are frustrated with their place in the world. And we should remember that in the last 15 years, 500 million people in North America and Europe have had flat to declining income, and they're not happy about it, and they don't believe the system is fair, and so there's a lot of challenges to actually our assumptions about how our society works. So all those four things are happening at one particular time, which will make this quite a volatile period. I'm an optimist. I think it's going to be a time of wonderful opportunity, but I think it's going to draw on a lot of the skills, capabilities, relationships, and experiences that you've had at Waterloo, because I'm firmly of the view, and I'm saying this as an outsider, for many of you know I wouldn't have been able to get into this university. The marking levels are too high. But when you look at the talent that is in this university and the faculty that we've got, and more importantly to me, the innovation that's been going on. This is the largest co-op program in the entire world. I've been hearing some stories this week which excite me personally, which is a reverse co-op for people who are in the business or government world to be able to come and maybe have a relationship with a university to keep learning. But this is the kind of thinking and innovation, the integration across typical silos that goes on, and that's going to be essential as you look ahead. But one of the things that I've enjoyed most about working with students that have graduated from Waterloo, seeing leaders that have graduated from Waterloo, is their boldness and their curiosity. I was just at a space conference last weekend, and the topic was, what will the geopolitics be of outer space? Will we have conflicts? Will there be a Cold War in outer space? It was kind of a bit of an odd forum. But the most interesting question actually came from a Waterloo graduate leader who basically said, that's all very interesting, but the question I want to ask is, how long is it going to take until we have 100,000 humans living in outer space? And at first the reaction was, this person's on mushrooms or probably the drugs that they provide in Canada. But afterwards, when people thought about it, they thought, that's actually the most interesting question that we should be looking at. So I think that in a world that is changing very quickly, dramatically, and presents challenges and opportunities, you're well positioned to lead. If you can't lead, I don't know who is going to be able to do it. So let me just talk finally a bit about the procedure as we go through it, and the Provost will give much more eloquent view about what convocation actually means. I just want to get to the mechanics of what we do. Basically, over the course of the next couple of hours, we are going to confer a number of degrees, awards, and honorary degrees. First, we're going to confer an honorary degree on an individual, and you'll hear more about this person, who's made an extraordinary contribution to the community, both in the region but also globally, and also to the university. We are going to confer bachelor's, then master's, and then the doctoral degrees in the end. And we will also give an award to a faculty member who's excelled in their field. Medals will be awarded to graduating students who've excelled in their studies as they go through it. I've spent much of my career trying to help leaders predict the future. I've most often been wrong. My prediction here is this will take 2 hours as we go through it. But I would just hope that you remain in your seats until we've gone through, everyone's had a chance to go through it. It's as special for the very first person as for the last person, so let's all pay attention to this. Anyhow, congratulations again. I look forward to seeing you across the stage as graduands, and I'd now like to invite William Chesney, who's the Associate Dean, Undergraduate Students, Faculty of Arts, to the podium. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chancellor, I present Anthony Cimolino. Anthony Cimolino is an internationally renowned director and actor whose contributions to Canadian theatre and the Stratford Festival cannot be overstated. His long-standing career at Stratford began in 1988 when he distinguished himself in leading roles such as Laertes in Hamlet and in a widely acclaimed performance as Romeo. During the 1990s, Cimolino turned to directing. Notable productions include Mary Stuart, King Lear, and As You Like It, which featured original music by the Bare Naked Ladies. Over the years, Cimolino has assumed a number of vital roles at the festival, including general manager, executive director, and general director. His innovation and drive is matched by his skills in cultural management. He has successfully overseen the launch of an endowment fund which now stands at a formidable $90 million and which has enabled significant renovation and expansion of the festival's infrastructure. In 2013, Cimolino was appointed as Stratford's artistic director, where his unique combination of creativity, vision, and leadership continues to flourish. He has led the Stratford Festival into productive new terrain, reimagining the festival in novel and accessible ways, presenting the plays of Shakespeare and other notable dramatists in such a way as to engage new audiences and foster a richer appreciation of the relationship between text, performance, and society. He has also established the festival as both a signature venue for internationally celebrated actors and a launchpad for the next generation of actors, directors, and designers. Closer to home, Cimolino's deep commitment to educational outreach has opened doors for numerous University of Waterloo students and researchers. Mr. Chancellor, in recognition of his outstanding accomplishments as a distinguished artist and cultural leader, I request that you bestow the title Honorary Doctor of Letters upon Anthony Cimolino.
Congratulations, Doctor. I'm honored to confer upon you, Anthony Cimolino, the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. I extend my sincere congratulations. Thank you.
I now invite Dr. Cimolino to the podium to address Convocation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President. Bill, thank you for that citation. And it's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. This is such a happy day, and it's such an honor that's being given to me. But it's a profoundly happy day for you, for your parents. And I went over my notes and I thought, boy, this is a really depressing speech. But the good news is if you can survive this speech, you're good for the future. Just go from here. Now, the traditional role of a speaker in this situation is to offer some advice. So let me start by giving you two ideas to ponder. The first is, as your presence here surely indicates, the key to success is hard work. And with enough determination, you can achieve just about anything. The second idea, education is the key to enlightenment. It opens the mind and it ennobles the spirit. Now, I know both of those things sound like cliches, and I just want to remind you, like many cliches, each of those two propositions is a total crock. And I think I can say crock? Yeah, okay. Let's debunk the one about education first. There's a quotation that's attributable to Galileo, and it basically said that he said, "You cannot teach a person anything. You can only help them to discover it for themselves." Etymology appears to support that claim. The word to educate comes from the Latin root educere, to draw out. Education draws out what's already within you. But what if your inner self isn't all that good to begin with? In the 19th century, people believed in the improving power of education. And then came the 20th century, when educated men of refined tastes became concentration camp commandants. And being educated and being refined, some of them had their prisoners form orchestras. More recently, in Sri Lanka, suicide bombers were described by the country's Minister of Defense as being, quote, quite well-educated people. A political scientist professor at the University of Chicago agreed, telling the Washington Post, quote, "Your average suicide attacker is typically above average educated compared to the local society." So whatever else education does for us, we should be very wary of assuming that it makes us better in any moral or spiritual sense. Now, what about the self-improvement that comes through great hard work? Well, there used to be a figure of speech for that, pulling oneself up by our bootstraps. And if you happen to be wearing boots right now that have straps, try it. You won't move a millimeter. I'm not saying that all of your hard work and all of your education has been for naught, but those things are far from being all that you will need, especially now, when it's so much harder for you to make your way in the world than it ever was for my generation. The Chancellor mentions many of the changes that are happening right now. But among them, on a very practical level, to use an obvious example, buying a house used to be an attainable aspiration when I was starting out, and it seems for many young people now almost an impossible dream, especially in certain urban centers. The world is worsening in other, even more alarming ways. Climate change is upon us, and not just physically, but also politically. Reactionary, absolutist attitudes that my generation confidently assumed had withered away now pose a real threat to liberal democracies. So, really, what advice can I possibly give you about how to succeed in a world that is anything but fair? How can you arm yourselves against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune? And all I can really offer you is Shakespeare. Plus, I needed to get him in here somewhere. I've got Stratford Festival tickets to sell. Shakespeare was born in 1564, just 30 years after Henry VIII declared himself supreme head of the Church of England. It was a time, like today, when the old order was breaking down. The century began in relative calm. Throughout the Christian world, people pretty much all held the same beliefs. but from 1517 onward, Europe had been convulsed by seemingly endless religious wars between Catholics and Protestants. Eventually, people were exhausted by all this turmoil, and that exhaustion in turn engendered a certain skepticism, an appetite for free thinking. Galileo, building on the earlier work of Copernicus, developed a new cosmology based not on faith, but on empirical observation. And radically, he placed the sun in the middle of the universe, or the solar system, not what we had thought, mankind and the earth. And that was a telling change in viewpoint. In one of his essays, the philosopher Michel de Montaigne wrote about playing with his cat. And he wondered if it was actually the cat playing with him rather than him playing with the cat. What significant difference is there really between fellow creatures apart from viewpoint? Shakespeare's work, often influenced by Montaigne, reflects the tensions and the tectonic shifts of his age, and multiple viewpoints are the very essence of drama, his chosen medium. We're lucky Shakespeare wrote when he did, because that window of free thinking didn't stay open very long. Religious reaction set in, the dead hands of dogma and absolutism soon reasserted their grip. But in the meantime, Shakespeare bequeathed to us models of thinking and being that include a readiness to look at the world afresh, skepticism about power and the people who wield it, and a willingness to forgive personal shortcomings. Above all, Shakespeare strikes me as the epitome of empathy. His extraordinary capacity to imagine the experiences and the perceptions of others not only gave us the greatest drama in the world, but also points towards humanity's greatest source of hope. Cultivating empathy is how we grow as human beings. It's an essential first step towards making the world a better and more enlightened place for us all. Empathy may not help you buy that house or get a job, but it might just bring a tiny bit of warmth into the winter of our collective discontent. So here's my advice. As you set out on your pursuit of happiness, be as Shakespearean as you can. Take everything with a big grain of salt. Discover for yourselves rather than relying on what you're told. Try to imagine other viewpoints. Stay open to the possibility that you might be wrong about something and that someone with whom you feel no kinship at all may be right. And remember that when we're most convinced that we are right, we're most likely to be in some way wrong. This is an excellent time for all of us to reach out to anybody that we might consider our enemy and to listen. The world is hard right now. It might get better in your lifetimes. It might get worse. A lot depends on you because you're its future. It matters deeply what you make of yourselves. Cultivate open-mindedness, skepticism, empathy, these three. But the greatest of these is empathy. If you can achieve that, if you can achieve an imaginative understanding of how others think and feel and conduct themselves accordingly, and conduct yourselves accordingly, that will be your real success in life. And remember that all of these vital qualities you will encounter in a theater, so buy your tickets now. I want to thank you for today, and I want to especially wish each and every one of you the greatest good fortune on your chosen path. Break legs.
You might imagine it would be very hard to follow Dr. Cimolino. My name is Jim Rush. I have the pleasure of being the Vice President, Academic, and Provost of the University of Waterloo. And I would like to first thank Dr. Cimolino for his inspiring address and perspective, and to welcome him to the group of Waterloo's distinguished alumni. Would the members of the graduating class please rise? Mr. Chancellor, I present to you those scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the university, I hereby admit you to your various and several degrees, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure to now invite Stavros Stavroulias to come forward and deliver the valedictory address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, esteemed faculty, parents, families and friends, and of course, to the most important people here, the graduating class of 2019. It's been a journey to get to this day, but here we all are. We started off at orientation, learning about campus and that rubbing Porcelino's nose before a test is good luck. Had what seems like infinite of hours in lectures, some of which we'll remember for the rest of our lives, and some we forgot the moment we left the classroom. We wrote thousands of words in essays and had countless exams. And now, we're only moments away from ending this adventure and embarking on another. It reminds me of one of my favorite Tolkien quotes. The greatest adventure is what lies ahead. I'd like to believe he's right. But before we embark on that adventure, I'd like to reflect on this past one with all of you. Funny enough, my journey at Waterloo did not start in arts, although it is the reason I stayed. I came to Waterloo for math. And at the end of my first year, I found that all the classes that I really loved were in the arts faculty. All of my electives. There was just something about the arts faculty that stood out to me. I found that in every one of my arts courses, I had discussions with people who I could tell really cared about what they were studying. Whether that be in my classical mythologies course, where I could talk to people about crazy myths, or my public speaking course, where I got to see people helping each other become better speakers. These experiences changed my perspective on what I wanted. So I switched. This was at the time, and to this day, probably the scariest decision that I've ever made, but remains one of the best. As I continued my journey, I discovered what it was that initially attracted me to arts: the people. Everyone cared so much, whether that be professors that took time after class to explain difficult concepts, or students that actually know how to navigate their way through pass and can help you get out when you inevitably get lost. Everyone cared, and everyone did their best to help. I think in some small part, that's what arts is all about: helping other people in some way. I know that in my time here, I've been helped by members of staff, professors, students, friends, and even janitors who let me into ML once when the building had closed and locked because I had no idea I ever did that and my bag was locked inside. I'm sure that we can all think about moments where we needed help to keep going, where we were close to rock bottom. And I'm sure that we can all pinpoint the people that were there for us in those moments to help us. Help carry us to the top of the mountain and help us get through. I know that for me, as I'm sure for many of you, I've met those people who have helped me out the most by being an art student. I've made friends in this faculty that I'm going to keep for the rest of my life, some of which are sitting here graduating with me today. Some have already graduated, and some will eventually, I hope. Now, I'm sure you've all heard this next question before. What are you going to do with an arts degree? I know, having switched from math to arts, I got this question all the time. It must have been the biggest obstacle that I had to overcome throughout this adventure. But I always answered it the same way. I'm going to help people, the way arts helped me. And this always makes me think about a lesson I learned early on in life. It comes from a book I read as a child, Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. At the end of the book, after telling his story, the Onceler tells Ted, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. This message stuck in the back of my memory for years, telling me that I can make a difference. That if no one cared, nothing would get better. But if even one person cared, it could. And if there is one thing that I have learned throughout this 5-year adventure, it is that this faculty has taught all of us here to care. So go and start your new adventures. But remember what it was you've learned during your time here. Care about others, take care of yourselves, and remember, it only takes one person to make a difference. Thank you and congratulations, class of 2019.
You don't get to go that way yet.
Oh, no. I'll do that later, I guess.
Thank you very much, Stavros, for the thoughtful and inspiring speech. Good afternoon, once again, everyone. Mr. Chancellor, honored guests and participants. I think we're off to a fantastic day, and it's about to continue. Convocation is perhaps the most rewarding occasion in the life of a university. It evokes both our ancient rights and privileges, but at the same time recognizes significant accomplishments and stirs within us the promise of new beginnings, which I think have been articulated very well by the speakers so far at Convocation. On behalf of the entire University of Waterloo administration team, I would like to formally thank all of those who have made today possible. You know that convocation literally does mean the action of calling people together for a large and formal assembly. So it isn't actually possible for us to have this convocation without all of you. So to the graduates, and to the parents, the families, and friends of our graduates, especially those of you who have traveled from afar to be here today, thank you for making this possible. To the university community for developing these scholars and developing and delivering their outstanding event for our new alumni today. Thanks to all of you. And of course, we acknowledge those who can't be with us today because they were unable to attend. We feel their presence individually in very special ways during this Convocation Assembly. I would like to now ask all of the graduates to remain seated as I invite the parents, family, friends, event coordinators, and other supporters to please rise as you are able. I'd invite you to look around at the graduates and the graduates in the opposite direction to find your special people, those who have supported you through your journey at Waterloo and before and in the future. You'll undoubtedly hear from them during your time crossing the stage. You might as well know where each other are now. Graduates, would you together thank all of those who have made your convocation so special? Please be seated, thank you. As we prepare to confer the degrees, I have a few technical notes for you. For guests that are wishing to take photos of the graduates, there is a photography area located to the left of the stage, right over here in this area. You can access that by exiting the gym at the back using the west exit doors and then come forward to that area. If you approach the photography area just before your special graduate crosses the stage, you'll be in a good position to take pictures then. And then I just ask that once you have taken those pictures that you clear out of the area and return to your seats to allow the next group of people to come into that space. Graduates, I know that you will have learned at some point in school, and hopefully it wasn't at the University of Waterloo, about the alphabet. So you'll know that if you're seated towards the front of your group, your name probably begins with an A or a B or a C, and if you're at the back, it's probably an X or a Y or a Z. But you're all part of the group of Convocation, and I would just remind you of the Chancellor's instruction that you would return to your seats until Convocation completes after you've come across the stage. Now we're on to the main event of Convocation. We're going to proceed with the conferring of degrees. And so I invite Douglas Piers, Dean, Faculty of Arts, and William Chesney, Associate Dean, Undergraduate Students, Faculty of Arts, to announce the graduates' names.
Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts, University Waterloo, General Program 3-year. Bree Greer Arhanich, Oliver James Henrik Bailey, Alicia Boss. Maria Janine Cantero, Sarah Farhanian, Laura Franco Valencia. Got nothing. I'd love to read some names if I had them. Zeke Galib, Louis Eng, Yeyun Guan, Muiz Irfan Jamal, Carlson Liang, Joseph Ernest Seelock Lindsay. Tracy C. McDonald, Ronald Alexander McInnes, Cherry Lee Medill. Kira McCaffrey, Alexandra Kimberly McKinnon, Sarah Rombaugh. Michael Solomon, Nicholas Matthew Stacy, Leah Staff. Heijong Tao, Sarah Jane Thorne, Andrew Michael Valle. Adrienne Christine Young Ellis. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts, University of Waterloo General Program, 4-year. Donna Yunli Chen, Calvin Chiho Koo, Ramandeep Kaur Dillon. Hema Mashat Farouk, Jason Chunwei Lee, Connor Newton Legere. Shibo Lee, Site Lee, Drew James Martindale. Denis Christiana Montenegro Borge, Sujoy Potter, Thanusia Ratnasingam. Zainab Saeed Salman, Zaid Schaefer, Saranga Sitsabesan. Harani Hirosha Sriarulnathan, Hassan Tariq, Elise Marie Turner. Jiwei Lolo Zhao, Daniel Zemkowski. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. I now call Dean Douglas Peers to the stage.
Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts, University Honors Program. Kasim Mohammed Aaron, Brett Marshall Abraham, Sophia Nisha Akbar. Chukwu Mele Ebel Chukwu Iro, Dunio El Jabori, Jania Jude Anthony Pillai. Jasmine Sirwa Manu Apia. Hafsa Mariam Arslan. Vladislav Artem. Giselle Arzadon, Vedran Askraba, Meredith Jane Ari. Safa Bajwa, Aiga Balazi, Lance Anesco Baldonado. Nancy Bolescu, Claire Rachel Barnes, Holly Danielle Beauvais. Emily Bertachowski, Adam Bignall, Natasha Bilansky. Anahad Binahabel, Maria Rada Bizev, Nomi Ellen Bomer. Victoria Lynn Boris, Emily Boynton, David George Brabania. Owen Brown, Nicole Elizabeth Buchanan, Jessica Shannon Buck. Destiny Burton, Georgiana Cameron, Kaylee Alyssa Campbell. Melanie Priyanti Kanagaratnam, Scott Carrere, Christopher Leonard Carniello. Prani Chandrasegaram, Lindsay Yvonne Chatterson, Alyssa Michelle Chen. Jen Yu Oscar Chen, Ki Wai Cheng, Gurley Unid Chevalier. Kyungmin Cho, Tanzil Chaudhary, Natasha Sinalda Crasto. Alexandra Caitlin Daly, Deanna Doust, Iza Bint Dawood. Selena Diosaran, Matthew George Deving, Christina Maria Albertson. Jesse Estwick, Nicole Alexandra Foster, Tiffany Gao. Bhavnit Kaur Gill, Hiran Gautam Foker, Navjeet June Grewal. Shristi Gupta, Sonia Gurdita, Liane Osama Hadi. Victoria Hadi, Mariam Hamdi, Shiblu Hassan. Savannah Marie Heinzman, Taylor Katie Ann Hendry, April Jean Lee Hickson. Janine Hilo, Olivia Cara Holden, Allison Janine Hopper. Laura Ann Paula Howes, James Morgan Howie, Jordan Kennedy Hunsberger. Lisa Hun, Chai Wun Huang, Amanda Jaiperso. Janarth Jagathesaran, Nicholas Johnston, Kajal Cocker. Manikara Yukabian, Harleen Carr, Scott Philip Kavanaugh. Talha Ibrahim Khan, Misha Koramshi, Hyunjin Kim. Jaehyun Kim, Lydia Hyun V. Kim, Marie Koko. Kevin Sirkan Kramer, Vanessa Teresa Kraus, John William Krakowski Simon. Navya Kumar, Brianna Kun Ni La, Laurel Go Lagdeman. Niha El Amin Lakdawala, Jaisuk Michael Lee, Hai Dao Lee Ngoyen. Stephanie Ji Ying Leung, Lauren Michelle Lee, Naomi Z. Chuan Lee. Mumna Liakat, Balraj Kaur Lither, Stephen Lien. Chun Lee Lin, Wing Man Yao, Priyanka Loganathan. Miguel Luisi, Tianwan Luau, Amanda Lutz. Jessica Lynn McDonald, Arun Mahanathan, Amanda Lynn Maloney. Nikki Lock-Q Mann, Teresha Mangru, Amelia Marfizi. Kristen Maria Martins, Alexander Meyerhofer, Joshua Mbandi. Thomas McVeigh, Julia Adrian Mellinson, Mac Mooney. Alexander Moore, Maria Marone, Andre Carlisle Mullings. Natasha M. Nagel, Cameron James Nairn, Farzan Fatima Nakvi. Osahon Raphael Nasakare, Kayla Orlana Carolyn Ochar. Jocelyn Esther Paladines Aguirre, Mira A. Patel, Nandini Kalpesh Patel. Rachel Erin Patrick, Galen Kashaka Pereira, Amara Nazim Popat. Ashley Ann Power, Seamus Chen Power, Mackenzie Donnell Pritchard. Okay. Nita Stephanie Paselis, Jimmy Quach, Jennifer Kwan. Alisi Radu, Sophia Rashid, Jonathan Robert Ravenhorst. Tyler Mark Raycraft, Kimberly Michelle Rempel, Nicholas Rizzardi. Michaela Jordan Rowan. Garaj Sagu, Arjun Sena, Mariam Sajad. Jesse Rao, also the recipient of the Reginald Haney Award for Outstanding Academic Achievement in the Legal Studies Program and the Faculty of Arts for Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in Legal Studies. Negan Safdari, also the recipient of the Faculty of Arts for Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in speech communication. Brandon Michael Sanders, Amandeep Kaur Sandhu, Emily Jean Savoy, Miranda P.S. Scambia, James Robert Schneider, Ragavi Selvanathan. Tarsiga Selvanathan, Danon Shea, Dave Ambrose Siddiqui. Simran Atari Sidhu, Danielle Ann Simard, Anajan Sivaraja. Elizabeth So, Maha Sohal, Jia Lan Song. Blaine Tobias Speck, Shabina Srinkantan, Stavros Stavrolis. Rachel Marie Stemler, Katrina Marie Josephine Tabai, Yunru Tao. Adam Richard Tiber, Emily Maria Patricia Tongchik, Rachel Doreen Thorburn. Andrew Tran, Megan Tran, Serena Trasolini. Amanda Wisniewski, Mia Zimrov, Alisa Umahosa. Taranya Vimalachandran, Haley Daisy Jane Walsh, Anika Taylor Voss. Ryan Claire Wedgerfield, Madison Weary, Christine Elizabeth Wilson. Tyrone Allen Jordan Winfield, Trinity Annunciata Wojcik, Tsui Yu Jetta Wong. Kendra Winter, Linda Shin Ying She Yun Jung Yang. Austin Yin, Alexandrina Young Pao, Ji Wei Yu. Zhe Ying Tracy Yu, Jonathan Yuan, Ivy Zhou. Sonia Olivia Zettel, also the recipient of the Faculty of Arts for Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in Music. Jackie Jai, also the recipient of the Faculty of Arts for Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in Political Science. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. I now invite Danielle O'Neill, Assistant Vice President, Graduate Studies and Postdoctoral Affairs, to the podium.
Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Master of Applied Science. Joel Simar. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Master of Arts. Ella Sofia Andrizovic. Zeynep Arsalangiri Yasar. Andra Georgiana Barrerio. Julia De Paulo Almeida Carvalho. Hamid Durrani. Sean Alexander Griffin. Janice Harper. Landon Marie Jennings. Angela Yamamoto. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Master of Peace and Conflict Studies. Christina Bartold, Leanna Beverly Feltham, Catherine Garacho, Boone Koo, Laurel Spring O'Gorman, Kenesha Danielle Owusu Mensah, Rizwan, Jamal Ullah Rohani, Tanvir Hussein Tiwana, Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, I present the candidates for the degree Master of Public Service. John Arnott, Rita Bandari, Angela Lucia Butron Gutierrez, Newman Butt, Melvin Andrew Christopher, Jeffrey Clark. Peter Clark, Raquel Santos Damio, Pierre Adrian Devoist, Lakshmi Ganesan, Kevin Gerlach, Jessica Gina Godar. Harleen Kalon, Sunayana Katikapali, Janique Kennedy. Gordon Ka, Javjeet Kyler, Sharon Rebecca Kowalski. Patricia Kaluga, Kyla Deborah McKenzie, Azaz Malik. Janelle Trishana Martin, Tama Mondesir Grant, Maria Pavlukovich, Cassidy Faith Payne, Alexander Jonathan Pontieri, Ali Raza, Rael Teresa Ricci, Argina Sahota, Amanda Marilyn Smith. Apila Cerise Handaraj, Ianta Elizabeth Stubbs, Nathan Ross Tasker. Hina Thaker, William Tishy, Ryan John Westman. Jingjing Zhu. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. We will now confer the degree, Doctor of Philosophy, the highest academic degree awarded by universities. Attaining a PhD is no easy task. It involves years of hard work, attainment of subject matter expertise, and a contribution to the sum of human knowledge in a subject area through original research. It is an honor to call upon the following graduates to receive the degree, Doctor of Philosophy. Daniel Brady, Psychology. Sonia Buffone, Sociology. Cassandra Cortez, Psychology. Kathleen Elizabeth Hillier, Sociology. Michael Keith Holland, Sociology. Alan Marisick, History. Christina Moss, History. Matthew Stephen William Silk, Philosophy. Alexander Tran, Psychology. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, I now request you to confer in absentia the various and several degrees upon those candidates who were approved by Senate but who were unable to present at today's convocation.
I confer the degrees in absentia.
I now invite Feridun Hamdalapur, President and Vice Chancellor, to the podium.
Class of 2019, Faculty of Arts, you look absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. Mr. Chancellor, I'm very pleased to announce that we are 29 minutes ahead of the schedule, the deadline you gave us. Which gives me exactly 29 minutes to address you. I think we'll be a little bit more brief than that. But graduates, now I'm very happy to call you graduates. Let me tell you how proud of you we are. Some of you may recall when you first started here, the first day of your orientation, we told you, first, congratulations, you made a fabulous decision to go to university. Second, we also congratulated you for making the decision to study at the University of Waterloo. We told you that it was going to be a fantastic journey. It was going to be a life-changing experience, but it was not going to be easy. It was going to require hard work. And we asked you to make a promise that we will meet you here at your convocation. Thank you so much for keeping that promise. You kept that promise with a lot of hard work, resilience, perseverance, and dedication. You also learned well. You coupled your learning with your passion, with your brilliance, and with your vision that you wanted to make a difference. So, Dr. Cimolino, if William Shakespeare was here, if he was observing this crowd, will say, "It is bloody marvelous." They are unstoppable. And whatever challenges and opportunities the life throws in front of them, they are more than ready for it. So that's why we're so, so proud of you. And parents, friends, supporters of our students, thank you so much for being on this very important day here with us and with them. You have been with them all along. You supported them. And for some of them, you helped them with their tuition. Thank you so much. And I believe you will still be with them throughout their careers. but your support meant a lot to them and to us. And to my faculty colleagues and staff, I think our graduates wouldn't be here without your support and dedication and passion. So thank you as well. Like you, your university, the University of Waterloo, in its short history of 61, 62 years now, we see the world differently. Every year, every time we look at the future as best as we can, and we say we need to do a better job than we have been. We're going to continue doing that. Our roles are reversed now. We have no further advice to offer you. We need your advice as you will move into this world and as you start using everything you learned here and everything you have in your heads and in your hearts. We need your engagement as you're joining this fabulous family of 210,000 strong University of Waterloo alumni family. That we need your guidance, we need your engagement to make this university a better place for the ones who will be coming after you. In my early days, student days before university, I read Victor Hugo. I read it because it was an assignment. And to fulfill my assignment, I read it. Later in life, I reread it because I wanted to enjoy my reading, and I did. And much later in life, I read it again, this time to learn from it. What I learned from it, I still use it, I apply it, because in my mind, and I believe this is the only lasting piece of, and it's not an advice, a thought that I will leave with you. It says, change your opinions and keep your principles. Change your leaves, keep your roots. I hope you will follow. Thank you so much again for being with us. Congratulations. Mr. Chancellor, over to you.
I was so mesmerized by the president's speech that I just forgot what I was doing up here. But all I have to say is Convocation is adjourned. Congratulations.